New Earth energy is beautiful, it is abundant, it is expansive, it is 5D, it is love, it is acceptance. But the way to it, that transition to it, it's not very comfortable, and it's pretty dark. And so something that's been coming through a lot in the past week, especially because there's just been so much going on energetically on the planet, is that we have to trust ourselves going blindly into the dark to get through. There's no turning back, right? There's no turning back to how things were. And it is beautiful because we know that light at the end of the tunnel. We know, even if we can't see it yet, we know what we're headed towards. It's incredible. And so I'm experiencing that in my own journey, trusting in the darkness, trusting in this process of like not knowing what's going to happen or how it's going to work out, but going anyways. And how do I word all of this? There's like so much that I want to bring forward in this message today. So I'll just get into like the main thing that really kind of shook me, but in such a beautiful way. So I talked about this in my vlog briefly that I just probably uploaded right before this. There's a couple that I follow, Eamon and Beck, and I've been following them for years and years and years, and they have really influenced my journey. I talk about the few people that I follow online. They're like kind of all over the place. There's Eamon and Beck. I love Sailing the Vagabond, Kristen Johns. Who else do I really like? I like Divine on the Road. I like all these different people that do very different things. I mean, two of them are and were van lifers. One's like a Christian girl that just loves like homemaking. The Sailing the Vagabond, they're sailors, but I really love them all for their authenticity. And I feel like there's more. Sarah's Day I've always really liked. I followed her a long time because she went through acne and whatnot, and I was going through that at the same time too. But regardless, they're all in their authenticity. Authenticity has been scientifically shown to expand other people. There's Arlo, by the way. And what has been so like eye-opening is Eamon and Beck's journey, because they, you know, what I associate them as is like van lifers, like such a beautiful couple, all the stuff. But recently, in the past few years, they've gone through such hardship. They lost their best friend to suicide, and then Beck went through breast cancer, treated it with chemo and all of that, and then they had a baby. And then they just uploaded a video for the first time in 5 months yesterday, talking about how Beck was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer at the end of her pregnancy and had to have a C-section 3 weeks early for her baby. And so stage 4, what I learned last night through researching it, is that it's not treatable. And so she shared in her video briefly that what has been showing to be really, really effective for her is meditation, and that through her 2 hours of morning meditation and through choosing positivity and consciously like deciding not to let in fear and worry and asking those around her to do the same, she has been able to have significant like improvements that have been shown in her scans. Like the growths within her liver are gone or minimizing, which they said is extraordinary. And so hearing results like that, which I'm familiar with because of like my mom's line of work being a healer, but to hear that and through her process of brain retraining pretty much to be so effective, it was like, wow, like this New Earth energy that we're moving into, it is number one, selecting people who are going to go through these really hard times so that they can be the guiding light to other people on how to keep moving forward and how powerful you are. You know, meditation, it's free. It's not crazy treatments. It's not searching. It's not like trying to survive. Meditation and brain retraining and using neuroplasticity is going in your own self, in your own space, and it is pulling up high vibrational thoughts, frequencies, and merging that with this darkness that has been like living within our field. I don't even know if we call it darkness, but we'll go with darkness or contrast or unresolved emotions, like whatever it is. lingering within our field that is causing these conditions. They did a study where it was on a certain type of female cancer, not breast cancer, maybe pelvic, or I don't know if pelvic cancer is down in that female region. And they did a study on, they tested their field as well. And so their energetic field, which is like the space around you, that's why in Joe Dispenza meditations, like you focus on the space around you, your field, and then you go into this neuroplasticity retraining. Their field had a frequency that was 100% accurate, lined up as a common denominator with the ladies who ended up positive with that cancer. And the ones who didn't have that cancer ended up developing it later. And I believe it's 100%. I'm just kind of like ballparking the stats of what I heard from this study. But it's about that. So your field really, really does affect your matter, your body, your health, your perceived reality. And so this new earth energy is realizing how powerful we are. And when we move through the unconscious and we start recognizing what's unconscious and what's real, and we can choose consciously to move towards the timeline that we desire, it's like it can get quicker and quicker and quicker and quicker. I've talked about, I haven't so much recently, but in the beginning on here in the past few months, I was really talking about like quantum manifestation through the work of the author who made Transurfing. There's a bunch of books, but his book Transurfing that I read, it talks about, you know, jumping timelines, using the quantum field to understand how powerful we are and capable we are of manifestation. In his book, he claims that this process is 100% accurate, is 100% effective if you follow each step. And so really down to the basics, it's understanding that every single timeline is possible. For Beck, and I'm just speaking from my own perspective, like this is their own story, but from my own perspective, like there is a timeline where Beck is 100% healthy, where she is a miracle, you know, and like she gets to be an example for other people with this condition of stage 4 breast cancer. And there's that timeline already existing, because time and space are not real, where she's in perfect health and they have their 17 kids, like they said in their video, and you know, they get to live a long, healthy life together. In my meditation, last night, I was just, because I was so like just really eye-opened about this experience that they're having. I was visualizing and being in that space of, because she asked people to visualize and hold the space of her doing cartwheels with her kids and being happy and healthy. But I also saw her being old and sitting and looking at the lake with her partner, Eamon, and how possible that is. And anything that we visualize or think is possible, it is already possible in that second. It already exists. And so when you use your free will and you choose to move towards it, and you start from that, after you make that choice, that simple 1 second thing, you make the choice of that timeline. You say, I choose that to be in my perceived reality. And then you move towards it. It is a process of not believing in or falling back into the unconscious. So what Beck did by telling her people around her, like, please don't send me worry, please don't send me fear, don't do that, because that's that unconscious. If the truth of who you are is love and acceptance and this infinite abundance, then worry and fear and all these things, they're not real, right? And so through not believing in those things and not giving energy to those things or letting them in your field and making the effort to make sure that other people don't do it, so it's just easier. Like if you can just ask them not to do it, it's easier. But for them, it's a little bit harder because they have over 1 million subscribers, so they had to take time off and like really just make a conscious effort in their video to be like, please don't like send worry and stuff. And so they're protecting their energy, and then also choosing to be in that high vibrational feeling and thought and to visualize. The other thing in Transurfing is visualizing, you know, where you're going, but also the process of going there. Like not just the outcome, and because that can get tricky sometimes if you're like always just visualizing that like perfect dream house or perfect life or perfect whatever, but not really visualizing the chain links, as they're called, on the way there. It can get a little bit like chaotic on the ride to that place. So you can help with the process of going to that timeline by visualizing the chain links, like the little bits and steps. Because usually, like unless you win the lottery, like if it's regarding money, like you won't go from like $0 to like $5 billion, but you can visualize the process of getting there and help with that perceived reality experience that you're going to have on the way there. So in DNRS, which is a brain retraining program, it also, like, part of that program is that you no longer talk about your symptoms. You don't talk about your symptoms. Even when you're like dealing with a really serious chronic illness and you're feeling the pain, you're feeling the for me it was and is the sinus stuff. And so when I'm like working through, like right now, because I'm explaining it, so I'll talk about someone else. If they're experiencing like a symptom, to not talk about the symptom, and then while also not talking about the symptom at all for these 6 months of committed time to this program. It usually doesn't even take all of the 6 months. Like, people start to see results like within a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks. That's why my program, I just made 3 weeks, because like if you can commit to 3 weeks starting on May 1st, then like your life will change. Your life will completely change. And so you're not talking about the unconscious, the things that are perceived and, you know, all that stuff. Like for Beck, she's not talking and thinking about like how horrible her condition is, from what it seems and from what they're saying. And she's more focusing on high vibrational things and where she's going. She's going towards that timeline of 17 kids and doing cartwheels. And so you get to choose. And the New Earth energy is supporting you in that. And people are starting to wake the fuck up. Like, seriously. And when like I keep going in my meditation, I'm like, you know, what is my purpose? My soul's work. And they keep saying lights on. Lights on. And so I think that many of us are here to assist with that process of lights on. And so like Beck and like you and like many people, most likely you, like you've gone through something very, very difficult. Even when it's like you're hearing this New Earth energy, you're like, this is all supposed to be so wonderful, so great, so easy, so lovey, so abundancy, like, but it's really shitty right now. That's because you are a pioneer. And so what you're going through right now, whether you talk about it or not, your essence, your frequency, as you move through it, will heal other people, will lights on for other people. Because when you are just like your authenticity, when you're vibrating in your authenticity, when you're vibrating in that state of had gone through something difficult and choosing the truth, choosing to wake up, choosing to move towards the timeline where you're no longer controlled by the toxic unconscious fear, lack, all these things, and you're choosing to move into this New Earth energy, then that aura around you, that field around you, is contagious to other people, right? And so you were chosen for a reason. You came to Earth for a reason. Your soul said, okay, sign me up for this purpose of going through this shitty thing and for figuring it out on my own, on how to do it and choosing to do it. And it really is just a commitment. Like Beck is doing 2 hours a morning and committing to this because that's what she wants in this human experience. She wants to be alive. She wants to live, like not just survive for however long she could survive for, but like actually truly live and be happy and doing cartwheels with 17 kids and her partner and like this beautiful life. And so I know that you want to choose to live too, like not just get by as we once were. And I really do feel intuitively, like very strongly, that the world is going to be, and it already is, it's what, however the lens that you have on, right? In my vlog yesterday, I was like, wow, I see that everything's so differently now. But more and more, the world is going to be this much easier, flowy place where like chronic conditions aren't really a thing anymore because we realize how powerful we are to heal them. You know, we're not going to be controlled by this fear of lack, this thing that keeps us controlled. Like the fear of lack keeps you in a life that like isn't yours because you're like, well, I gotta choose the safe job even though my boss is horrible to me, my coworkers like talk shit about me, and you know, I'm so tired, like I don't want to go to work today. Like that fear of lack, which is not real, that is unconscious, that keeps you in a timeline and a perceived reality that is not in alignment with what your soul came here to Earth to do. But maybe in a way it is, because that was your process to remembering. I'm getting a phone call right now. I'll call him back later. This is my dad, who also, by the way, lost. If you've been here since the beginning, since around New Year's, my dad and I apparently had a competition of who could, grow their YouTube channel the most and be most consistent on here, and he never uploaded, even though he's the one who brought it up. But I'm glad that he made that competition, because that got me to this space. Like, originally I thought that I would just be making like updates on traveling, and because right now I'm in Italy on a horse farm and doing van life with my dog, and just traveling around Europe and following my soul stuff. But originally I was like, I'm just gonna do like travel stuff. But then I started, like, because I was also doing my like 2 hour, honestly like 3 or 4 hour morning routine of brain retraining, meditation, all that stuff in the morning, I was like getting all these downloads like, no, it's time to lights on, like, talk about this stuff. Like, you can't just like pretend to just be traveling and not share these things that are like going on within your experience, because like it's been such a beautiful experience connecting. Like, the algorithm has just like connected me with you, and you're, I'm sure, a like-minded individual, and it's been like everything that I've wanted. Someone recently asked, like, have you found the like-minded individuals in your traveling? And like in Portugal I did find, like, spiritual, we're all spiritual, right? So I don't even want to like call myself like a spiritual person, because like if you identify too much with being a spiritual person, like that can be the ego being like, oh, like I'm better because but no, it's like my interests are like consciousness, and interests are energy work, and interests are like health and that kind of stuff. And so I found some people like that in Portugal. But then I realized, like, I don't want to try to control and just be surrounded. It's also in the show Grace and Frankie, where, which one is Frankie? Frankie, I think, is like the hippie one. She moves to New Mexico, where it is very hippie. I'm forgetting what that town that it's called. And she just kind of like blended in there. And she's like, I don't like it here. And so she moved back to where she was before, and liked being her unique self in like around her like best friend who would drink like martinis all the time and whatnot. And so that the difference, that contrast, kind of just helped her expand in her way. And so I've kind of like let go of all of that and just been like, I'm going to float through my experience and see what comes to me. And it's not necessarily about being around people just like me, it's about being around whatever is for my highest good. And so I choose that. But with saying that, YouTube has brought me to wonderful like-minded individuals, and I love, love, love this space too. And so yeah, my dad lost. So I'll call him back and remind him after I end this video here. And so thank you for being here with me, supporting this channel, helping me win that easy competition with my dad. And I have my 21-day program where we are starting on May 1st. And we're going to go into all this stuff, like the brain retraining, the waking the fuck up, the getting the lights on, the, rewiring your brain so that you can be in that state of remembrance and getting what you want for the rest of your life and moving with this new earth energy. It's like this weird time as we're shifting into it, but things have to fall apart and things had to go dark so that you could walk through into this new beautiful way of being here on earth. And I promise it'll be so worth it. So if you can just trust and commit and dedicate yourself to the process, it's going to be so worth it. And in your own way, you'll be doing cartwheels by the lake with your partner and 17 kids in your own way, whatever that looks like for you. And so yeah, I'm grateful to have been able to connect these dots and share this message in this way, because it's beautiful and eye-opening, and all the things. Like, the worry comes up for me, even though I don't know this person. The worry comes up for me, and then I get to be like, oh yeah, that's not real. And she even asked for that not to be okay, like for you to face that worry and transmute it into seeing that beautiful timeline for her. And that is exactly that. Controlling your thoughts and knowing when it's the unconscious coming up. And so we're going to do that in the 21 days. So if you're with me and you want to do that, go ahead and sign up. You go click on the Calendly link that will be in this video right down here. And anytime on May 1st, sign up. And then every day I will send you a video via email, a link to a private YouTube video. And that will be the exercise for that day. And so I'm super, super excited for that. If you want to work with me further, I have one-on-one coaching. And so we do stuff just like this, but we talk more, we work through things more, we can meet with your angels and guides and your divine team, and we can, you know, do specific things for you. And the most proven timeline for working with clients that I learned through my coaching programs is 6 months. And so that's why I made my 6-month program bi-weekly. We meet together for a phone call, we catch up, we see where you're at, I hold you accountable, and I give you tools or whatever it is that will help you in that experience that you're going through and moving towards your goals that you set in the beginning of the 6 months. And so I would love to be your guide in that way too. If you'd like to just do one-on-one session, we have that available. Meeting with your divine team is available. Psychic reading is available. Energy healing is available. And those are what is available. So I will see you in tomorrow's video. Please give this a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're new here. Leave a comment. I love your comments. I love knowing your experience with the video. And I'll see you tomorrow.